care about people and I want, the best for them. And I want, and I always want to see if I can help everyone, which I can't. And I have to remember that I can't take on other people's stuff, but I can pray for them or just, I don't know. I just want them to do better and know that I care. And because I do and care about their, her daughter who's sick or whatever, and whatever's going on. Because there's people have stuff and it's not always pretty, but it's there. And then I want to, remember. And if I really try, if I can, to pray for people when I hear these things that are going on, and I want to help them. So.
Hello, my name is Zach and Bowden, and you're listening to the Leading Well podcast. Thank you for joining us today on the Leading Well podcast, where we want to care for your soul, develop your skills, and cultivate groups and teams of community to do good work, to help you lead well.
I'm here with Christy Grant. And so, Christy, thanks for being part of our podcast today.
You're welcome. Yeah. I'm glad to be here.
Great. Let me just introduce you a little bit. So, sure. Christy, you've been married to your husband, Jared, for
10 and a half years.
10 and a half years, and you have 2 little ones.
4 and 2.
4 and 2.
Yep.
You are busy.
Yes.
Yes. And then you've been at New Life for how long?
I think it's been 3.5 years.
3.5 years. And so you've jumped in.
We love it.
You love it. That's great.
Yes.
You and your husband lead a small group here at New Life?
We do. We have some family oriented, as we have a 4 and 2 year old. So there are a lot. We have, I think we have 6 families, mostly 4 that come all the time. But it's been fantastic because it's a little zoo and everyone shows up. But we have so much fun. The kids have a play date and we get to fellowship with other parents, and we're kind of all in the same boat. And so anyway, we really enjoy doing that.
That's great. And you're also a Moms Matter table leader.
Yep, I've been doing that for a couple. I forgot how many years. It's been a while now. I'm doing that as well, and I've enjoyed that. Being a table leader and just kind of helping other moms. I guess I'm an older mom now, so that's okay.
That's okay. And then you work.
I do.
You are busy there. You are an independent consultant for Cincy.
Yep.
How long have you been doing that for?
7.5 years.
Yeah.
And so it's been a while. And when we started, we knew we were looking for a business opportunity and an opportunity of where I could stay at home with the kids we didn't have at the time. And so talked about a lot of things. I come from a background in business. And anyway, so Cincy was a good compromise for the 2 of us. And my my cousin-in-law just had sat down with us and talked to us. She was telling us about her, the sponsor who had quit her job, and her husband had quit his job, and they were selling Cincy, and we thought, for $99, how can we go wrong? Let's do it. So we kind of just jumped in. So
that's been 7.5 years.
7.5 years.
And now you have a team of how many people who work with you?
Oh, goodness gracious.
You?
It kind of fluctuates. I think Jared could tell you, I think we're at 68. So every month is a different month. Yeah. And, we have people come back, and then we have new consultants. It's always it's an open door, a revolving door. And so a lot of people will come and go, but that's okay. It's just part of the business. Yeah. But I enjoy working with my team, and I also feel it's like anything you do is a ministry, and so I care about them and wanting to know about their kids or what's going on in their lives, and if I can pray for something, and you just never know. So
so you're busy being a mom, a wife, involved in ministry here in your life. You have a giant team of people who work with you for Cincy. It doesn't even count all your customers.
No, my customers, it's kind of funny. Every morning, Jared will be like, who's coming over today? And like, what times? And then, so we have to make sure, he's not in the shower and he has or that kind of thing. But anyway, so it works out really well though. But then every day is a different day. So, but we have fun with that and have a lot of customers over at the house. My kids are used to people being over there, and it's a lot of impromptu play dates, which they appreciate.
Yeah,
so
that's fun. It keeps you guys busy.
Yes, it does.
And so you are an ideal person to talk about this conversation of, how do we put people first in the midst of busyness, and even in the tension of valuing people over a task. Right. And we all have our bents of things we love to do. I'm probably bent a little more to get the task things done. But I also know the people thing. I enjoy getting things done. I have to value people. Yeah, people have to come before the stuff. And so I love that you come from a spot of just business with home and work and church stuff, and you balance that so well, and you live that out so well.
Thank you.
And so, I would describe you as a person who really care for both people care for people both in the church and in your job.
Okay.
Why is that so important to you?
I was been thinking about that. Like what really has started, I don't really know, honestly. I love people, but I'll go back to 4th grade. I remember in 4th grade that I had a really good friend in 3rd grade in like a little group, whatever. And then in 4th grade, she didn't want to be my friend anymore. And this is silly. But anyway, I just at that point remember really just feeling left out, and had kind of 4th grade was a hard year for me. This sounds so silly, but I just always, ever since then, always want to make sure people feel included and a part of something. And like when people walk in somewhere and they don't have anyone to talk to, I don't like being that. I don't think anyone does, but I always try to make sure people feel at ease. And if I can see someone that looks uncomfortable, or, that needs someone to talk to or someone to sit with, I don't know. I kind of always tend to be drawn in that direction. And I love to ask questions. And if people don't talk back, I'll just keep asking more questions. So, but I just want to make them feel like, hey, you're welcome here. And so, and I do that with my customers and my team, hopefully. And then, hopefully that's a skill my kids can learn, because I love people. And so, and I'm always talking, and I'll make Jared jokes that I make friends at the grocery store. So about something, and it's true. So,
yeah. How do you balance all that between I get overwhelmed just thinking about, not just a family, but your ministry here. Like, there's about 15, 20 people just in church that you are kind of indirectly kind of caring for.
Oh,
not including, your large Cincy team, and then every
and my
customer.
Customers, yeah.
Like, how do you balance the sense of trying to get stuff done? Because you still have to live every day.
You got
so
it.
Got to go to the grocery store or do whatever else you have to do, and care for people. Like, how does that work for you?
Well, honestly, not always well.
Yeah, that's okay.
But Jared is my husband, is a big help me with. He helps me a lot with that, because he'll be like, "Okay, Christy, you don't need to talk to them about every aspect of their lives when they come over to the house." Or, he has kind of helps me balance out things, because I'll be like, "Oh, I'm going to do this," and he's like, I don't know if that's such a good idea, because he just is more the logical one.
Yeah.
I'm the one that wants to do everything and please everybody, and that can. So I mean, you can kind of see there's some downfalls to being a people pleaser, and also to loving people, is that I don't always get everything done in a good efficient manner. So, but he helps to balance me, and I think that God puts us together, and I think that is one of the big things for us, is he helps me in that with the business. And so also what that looks like is he'll be like, well, you asked them about all this stuff, but what about Cincy? Did you ask them about joining Cincy? And I'll be like, oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. So he will just be like, well, he'll remind me, Kate, when you talk to this person, don't forget to ask them about this, to kind of keep me on focus and he's like, and you need to take a little bit less time. He's not pushy about things, but he just reminds me that, you need to not just always think about those other things. So, but for you, and what I mean right here, and I appreciate Jared, even knowing him, right. He's a great balance for you. Right. But at your heart, like, it's not about the customer. It's not about even the dollar sign. It's not about even your team. Like, it's more friends. And
like how do you balance that for yourself, of the business side or even the ministry side? Like, right. They go, if they feel the same sometimes, how do you balance from, like, I'm here to care for you more than I am even trying to get a profit from you?
I have to do a lot of follow-up. My business is all follow-up, but it's not just about Cincy. Like I was telling you just now, I had a customer whose daughter is sick, and she came over. She wanted to try a diffuser, and so she got a diffuser. But anyway, just wanted to check in. Today, how's her daughter? And I didn't say how's her diffuser, because I don't. It's not what I care about, and I shouldn't. But anyway, I just am checking with her. And checking in with her, and I always am. Well, checking. Jared's like, how do you remember so many details about people? I don't know how I do it. I honestly don't. But he was like, you remember everyone else's? I remember his birthday, I promise you. But like, I remember people's birthdays and just little things about them. And then I'll ask them, well, last time you mentioned, what about this? And they'll be like, how do you remember that? I'm like, I don't really know. I just do. And I just want to know, I care about them and I want them to do better. And I've been trying to really think also about if there's a way to include about the Lord, if I can say, I'll pray for you. I've been doing that a long time, but hey, would you like to go to church with us? And I've not been, but I'm still just trying to work on that too. And just to kind of bring it back to the Lord and say, well, we have church on Sunday morning. We can't go, I can't have people over then, but to kind of keep that peace in mind. But the follow-up is huge for me. And I also pay attention on Facebook, and anything, any kind of conversations I see or have with people that, that and like I said, it's just some kind of detail. I don't know why or how I do it, but just like to remember things about people and like, oh, you were out of town. How was your trip? Or just whatever it is.
One thing I hear, like, this is what I hear you saying.
Okay.
You value inefficiency for the sake of relationship.
Yeah, it's true.
There's like what I hear you saying is like you choose not to be efficient.
You're right.
For the sake of a relationship.
I do. And
and so why is that? Why for Christy is that why is that what drives you?
That's a good question. Why does it drive me? I always can't say the same thing as I just care about people and I want, the best for them. And I want, and I always want to see if I can help everyone, which I can't.
Yeah.
And I have to remember that I can't take on other people's stuff, but I can pray for them or just, I don't know. I just want them to do better and know that I care. And because I do and care about their, her daughter who's sick or whatever and whatever's going on. Cause there's people have stuff and it's not always pretty, but it's there. And then I want to, remember. And if I really try, if I can, to pray for people when I hear these things that are going on and I want to help them. So
well, I appreciate
and have a heart for them.
Yeah, that's great. Because even something simple like the way you said this in our conversation was like you follow people individually.
I try, yeah.
You try.
Yeah.
Like in some ways I'd be like, well, it's just easier just to send one mass email or have everything automated or everything like done. Certain
things I do that.
You have to.
Yeah, but then
you don't choose those things.
No. And so, it's true. I'm pretty inefficient too, but it's because I know things will come to my head. I'm like, what about this from this person? So then I go text them, ask them about this or of that. Cause I just, want to check in on certain different things and I forgot to turn my phone off.
Okay.
Oopsie. Sorry about that. It was a phone call. But anyway,
your customers wanting something to talk, right?
Yeah, I haven't. Well, yeah. But anyway, it's just trying to, I don't know. I just will think, and it comes to me, and I have a list beside my bed at night, and I have to write down, and it's Sensi related, but then it's also personal things that I'm like, okay, I forgot to mention this. And I don't know if Zach, another thing I enjoy is I like to connect people. So I like to listen and I can listen better, but I can hear when they need something. And so I'm like, oh, well, I know this person that does this and you do that and you need this. So let me just, you should go see this person about this. And I'll send them, and it's all about people like that I've used or like, or whatever. It's a customer here or there. And anyway, I just love connecting, seeing a need and then having someone else that can meet that need and then it working out. And it's such a blessing for me to see that. So I recently tried being a matchmaker. I don't know about that part, but I'm working on it, but I just like to connect to where I see it, a need in helping people. So
how have you seen the benefits of being ineffective in a sense that how has that helped you in your business and how has that helped you in all you do in life of the church? Where's the value of that for you besides just the personal connection? How do you think it's helped you in your business or how do you think it's helped you in your church roles?
People come back for business, they want to come back over and some people will say, I really feel much better now that I came over and saw you. Yeah. And it's just cause I want to, how are you? How are the kids? What's it? How are you? How's work? What happened with this? Or, I saw that on Facebook and anyway. And so for business that will help. And I think people just will see that I care and I really I do try. And I want to, whatever I can, there's a need, then if I can help with that, then I will. And I can't do everything, but where I can, I try. So and I honestly enjoy it. And then I come home, I'm like, oh my gosh, Jared, I have to tell you about the latest whatever. So I think he's probably rolls his eyes because he hears it a lot. So it's always the same thing. Basically, Christy loves everybody. Well, for most people. So
things I've heard you share that helps you care for people well. You listen. You ask good questions. You remember those details.
That's a big one for me is the details.
Yeah. And you take initiative. Like
That's true.
You don't wait for people to reach out to you. You reach out to them.
I do. Yes.
Not for the business stuff or the stuff, but you do it because you care.
Exactly. Yes.
you listen, ask good questions, take initiative.
Initiative is that's a big one.
Remember the details. I remember
yes,
that one.
That one, yes.
Yeah.
Jared and I were just talking about that this morning. That is me, because I was talking to him, reviewing kind of what I was going to say, and he just talked about, well, Christy, one thing that you do is you do take the initiative with people, and you see something and you're like, hey, I can help you with this, or what about that? Or I have this person that I know that does this. And I have people that will actually text me and be like, hey, Christy, do you know anyone that does this? She's like, you know everybody. So I'm like, well, actually, and then if I have someone that I know, then I will connect them if I can. So there's no benefit to it. It's just that I know that, well, this is who I use, or this is someone that I know that does that. So
how would you so I'll push on me a little bit, help me. So somebody who probably leans to more task oriented,
right?
What would be, you would think of those 4 things you said, or other things that you might think of. How could you help me? How would you coach me? How would you push me to do a better job on loving people or valuing people just as much?
Probably, I guess the main thing is the details. Like just listening to, of a detail and then asking them about that later. Because you can usually tell like what's going on with someone. That's the main thing they're talking about. And then just I always try to just ask them about, I don't know, because I want to know, like, how did that work out? How did a doctor's appointment go? Or what about your husband? And are you guys doing any better? Or just, or whatever? Is there any way I can pray for you? I think the details is where I get all caught up.
And why do you think that's important? What is that, when you remember details, how do you feel like the other person is responding back to you?
Because they see that I care, and they see like, oh, well, she remembered that my daughter was sick, and that I was taking her to the doctor today, and she wants to know how it went. And I'm not trying to brag, but it's just something I just do it, and I enjoy doing it. If and I don't do it with everybody, but I do it with a lot of people. And then I'll try to make a point too with people. Like I said, if I see someone that I feel is having a harder time or needs something, then. Because speaking of, I have someone I need to reach out to that I was just thinking about from Mom's Matter, that she's not on my table, but I need to just check in, because I haven't seen her and I haven't heard from her lately. So I need to see like what's going on. Are you okay? So just to check in with her. So
it's fascinating. 'Cause I sit here and I hear what you're saying.
Right.
And I know what you're saying is true, but I sit here and I'm like even in marvel of what you're saying, because it's so natural to you and it's so easy to you, which I appreciate.
Oh, thank you.
And I value it, which is why I wanted to have this conversation.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Because I think, like, I know I could get better.
Can we all?
We all could get better for sure. And I know I could get better on doing a better job valuing people.
Right.
Because we all have lots of things to do every day.
Yeah.
And so what does it look like to slow down and care for people? How does Christy do this in the midst of busyness? Because there are some seasons where, knowing a little bit about you and your job, like you are, like, it's normal,
right?
And then it's like, oh no, we're really, really busy.
The fall is always like really busy
for you. Like, I'm sure going into the holidays is a really busy time.
The fall is the best season for us. I'd say my business ramps up about 4 times what it is the rest of the year.
So how do you manage that even in middle of crisis, in the sense of busyness?
I try to, let me think about this. What do? I just try to get just, I think sometimes you hear busier people get stuff done. And so I need to get better about my calendar, but trying to make sure I have notes that when people are coming over, and just have it, I just have them lined up, and I just if I have to stay up a little bit later than night, because then I have to do because I have to get stuff done, and there'll be more people over at the house, but it's just part of it. And like I told you, also blocking them and putting them closer together, putting my appointments closer together if I can, so then I can just get things done all in blocks. But like I said, I've heard busier people get things done. So I try also, if I say something, I'm going to try to do it, because I hate when I say something and I don't do it. I really want to try to follow up. I'm not always perfect about it, but I think that's important. But just locking them in and just fitting them in, and then some stuff does get pushed aside, but it will usually get done, because things will slow down, and then it won't. Then I can pick up where some other things that are not as important. And then Jared and I are always evaluating and reevaluating. Okay, is this working? And if it's not working, then we need to change it. And that's one reason I married him, I'll be honest. But then sometimes I get tired of evaluating. I don't want to always evaluate. I just want to think that my system that I've always done is still working. It doesn't always work though. But anyway, it's a good thing. So he helps me to be like, okay, is this working for us? And then okay, okay, now we're going to switch it up a little bit. And I've kind of learned with him too that I need to be able to be flexible, because I can be a little bit inflexible and think that what I've always done is going to work. And, but you always hear if you do what you always do, you're going to get this the result that you've always gotten. And he's not like that. And so he pushes me a little bit out of that to, okay, that's not working well, let's try this. And so I'm just gotten pretty much used to it. Okay, we're doing this now. And I'm just go with it, because a lot of times if I listen to him, he's usually right. Yeah. So
what would you say? I'm gonna give you a few scenarios.
Sure. Okay.
And I just give me your advice. Give me your knee jerk reaction.
Okay.
And I'll put different stress levels at all these things.
Okay.
A stay-at-home mom who has 2 kids who are driving her crazy. The importance of engaging her kids.
Oh gosh, I struggle with that sometimes too.
How do you do that? What advice would you give
with the kids? I think for me, sometimes I just need to take the time, because they're stressing me out, but they're usually they need some attention. Like I'm not giving them the attention that they need, or I'm not stopping, because I can also be very task oriented. Like I want to get the dishes done. I want everything to be done before I will do stuff that's fun. Yeah. But they're kind of teaching me that, I need to stop right now and just engage them and give them some attention and do what they want me to do. If Levi takes my hand to go with him and just play little Legos with him for a little bit, then he'll be fine. And then usually it'll kind of back off a little bit. Sometimes it's also just to change the scenery. Like we need to go somewhere. We have to get out of the house, because the kids and then it seems like sometimes when we leave, they just seem to do a little better. So we'll just go somewhere else, and then it kind of just breaks it up. We go to the car. We don't go to the car wash all the time, but Mr. Car Wash is nice because they have popcorn and suckers. And so I told the guy, we were walking into the car wash, I said, he was walking in, we already got our popcorn. I said, this is why we pay for this car wash, because we can come in and eat popcorn and eat suckers. And Isaac loves to watch the cars get washed. So anyways, just kind of doing some, getting out of the house and doing something and changing the focus, because I think that we get, and then I get all stressed out and wrapped up in details, and just to kind of focus, I just need to take a deep breath and, okay, let's just do this for now, and the dishes will get done. They always do. I've kind of also realized lately that if I wait till the last minute at night, the dishes they seem to get done a little faster. I'm like, I don't know how that works. But anyway, just listening to them and taking the time with them if I can. And they don't usually need a whole lot of time, but they need some, and they need attention. And I want to be a good mom too. So I want to honor that, and just, and I can be, there's Mary versus Martha, or no, Mary and Martha. And I see myself, honestly, I can be more like, from my perspective, more like Martha. So, and then just to take, I need to sit, that comes more about my house. And when I talk about that stuff, having my house clean and organized, and well, kind of, if you don't look in my closets, but, and doing all that stuff first, and then say, okay, now we can do this. And then it's like, nope, we need to do this now. That can wait. So
tell me about, if you're leading a group of other people, and the group is going well, but one person's kind of withdrawing from the conversation.
Try to bring them back in if I can.
What does that look like for you, Chrissy?
To have some I don't know, probably just ask them a question, kind of just lightly, gently, just try to ask, get them to answer, get them to participate. And also I always wonder, what's going on with them? Like what's going on behind the scenes that we don't see. There's something that we don't know about. And so if I can engage them, then I'll try to bring them to kind of bring them back out if I can. Like I said, I can ask a million questions, and just where I can try to get them engaged. And to feel like they're a part of the conversation too. I don't like people feeling left out, and I always can see that and look at that. And then that's the person that I'll try to go and talk to see, they're not really talking to anybody. So I will talk, just make sure they try to feel comfortable.
You have an open house.
I try.
Lots of customers.
Lots of people at the house.
Buying lots of stuff, or doing whatever they're doing in whatever Cincy is, and however that works for you. But you could tell in the midst of lots of people in the house shopping, one customer is hurting, and so is struggling. You could tell there's more going on. Right. How do you manage the whole customers? And all the customers.
Well, they don't. I try not to have them come at the same time, though. Sometimes they do. I try to have them a little bit separated, but sometimes despite my best efforts, they all show up at the same time, even if I have them blocked at different times. But anyway, just to try to, like I told you, to engage that person. I mean, I've had people stop by and like, you know, she's like, I just need to talk. She starts getting teary. I'm like, okay, let's sit down. Just, you know, we just take a minute right now. What's going on? How can, you know, and I had actually someone of my teammates one time, she just called me out of the blue. She wasn't on my team anymore. She's like, I need to come over and talk to you. I'm like, okay. So just say, okay, come over. How can I help you? And then we just prayed for her. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't see that I have some kind of gift or anything, but I just let her talk, and she's in a much better, I think she's in a better place now. But, and if they need something to tell me something, then I have one, she leaves, she's like, Christy, I need you to pray for my husband. I'm like, okay, I can do that. So try to remember and ask her the next time, you know, how is your husband doing? How are you guys? And just try to, usually this business stuff will get set aside because there's something else that is more important than Sensi. So Sensi is just like it's a connecting point I found, and then it's not, but I mean, we all have our lives and we all have other things going on, and I care about the other stuff. So
that's good.
Yeah.
What, maybe the last question I might ask you.
Sure.
I'm sure when you have conversations with people, there's a fear of just feeling inadequate. Like,
how do I help them?
How do I help them? What do I do?
True.
Like, I appreciate you, Christy, because like, you haven't gone to counseling. You're not a professional therapist.
Nope.
Like, you're intelligent and you're smart.
Well, thank you.
But you haven't gone to school for those things to be a therapist in a sense, or a counselor. No. But you still step in people's lives. And so, what do you do in those moments? Like sometimes there's fear for us to say, I'm not going to step in that line because I don't know what they might say. And I don't know if I'll be able to help them or not. How would you respond to somebody who says, I'm just going to stay back because I don't want to get messy with somebody else's life?
I never even think about that. I'm like, oh, that's a good question. I'm just like, there's a need right here. You know, there's something that's going on. What is going on? How, you know? And I mean, there's some people that I have a hard time with because I see that there's a ton of need. Yeah. And it's like, okay, how can I also keep a boundary too? Because I can't just drop everything. I have a business, you know, and I have things to do. Yeah. But to help this person, I have one in particular in mind that help this person where I can, you know, and just try to, she knows that I'm there, but she knows that I can't be there all the time and do stuff. But I don't know. About the getting messy, I don't even think about it, honestly. I'm just like, okay, well, how can, you know, and we've been through marriage counseling. We had a hard time at first. And so I'll talk, you know, I'm like, well, maybe there's something that I can just, you know, say, or like this little lady that came over that her daughter was sick. So I pull out all the stuff that Isaac has, you know, we have an inhaler, and because he has allergies and this really bad cough. And so I was showing her, I'm like, well, just in case you need to know when you go to the doctor tomorrow, this might be something that can help you. I said, we've been through a year or more of this trying to figure out what's going on. And so I'm like, well, maybe I have something that I can just mention. But then a lot of times my husband reminds me is just to listen to them and let them talk. And I can't always solve it, but I can listen and be there. So that's great. Anyway, I don't know where this all came from, honestly, because I look at my family like, how am I like this? But I am.
So this will be my last question. I promise.
Okay. I could talk all day.
How has this shaped your relationship with God, or what have you learned from God as you think about how has this shaped your relationship with God based upon your love for people and your love for people? How has it shaped your relationship with God?
How has it shaped my relationship with God?
Or how has God shaped you because of it? Might be the way to say it.
Well, I mean, I know he cares too for all of us and all of our individual needs. And and everything. I've been reminded lately that if the more I involve him, the more he will be, you know, he's there if I involve him, and like, you know, pray without ceasing, and just to keep reminding to have him be a part of the little things and all things, and that he wants to be if I let him, and if I'll let him in. And I don't always, I get sidetracked about things, and just trying to keep him involved with. And I think that's the main thing, is just keeping involved with all of my interactions if I can, as best as I can. And like I said, I'm not perfect, but I try. And then I try to be perfect, but I try to involve him in things. And I've been working on that, and just trying to keep him more present with me. And like little struggles I've been having with my kids, I've been like, well, how come I haven't asked to pray? How come I haven't prayed about that? Like, I need to pray, but that's silly, but it's not, you know, he wants to help me in everything. So I think that's one of the main things. And then I know that he loves everybody, and he has, maybe I've had an experience that I can help them with, or just listen. And he wants to know about all of us. And I'm hoping I've been trying more to kind of go that direction with, if I can, with any of people, with my customers or anyone, that how can I talk to them about the Lord? Like I talk to people about, this is business stuff, but about joining Sensi, but I need to ask them, do you know Jesus, and that kind of thing, and how important, that's more important than what I do as a business. My business is a side note, and compared to that, so I've been trying to think about that more too. So, and I'm still working on that, but trying to be more present.
That's great. Well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing. I think if I was going to just summarize what I've even heard you share today, man, the priority of putting people first.
Oh, thank you.
And I appreciate, not, you just don't say that, but you live that out in your life. And so thank you for modeling that well, and to all of us, and to me in particular. I appreciate that. I think also, go back to like, how do you see people? And you
just love them.
You love them, but it's more than that for you though. Like what I heard, like you listen, you ask good questions, you remember details, and
what was the other one?
Oh no, I forgot.
I forgot it too.
Ask good questions. Listen, remember details, and take initiative.
That's it.
That's
the important. That's the one I always forget about, the initiative. I don't even know I do that.
You
but
just do it so well. And so to put people first, like is to really to lean into those, and those 4 things that I think you model really well. And there's other ways to do it too, but that's what I heard you share. Another thing I heard you share is going to say was, it's okay to be inefficient for the sake of relationships. And I think, and for us in our American culture, we almost put an idol on efficiency.
It's true.
And so sometimes it's not always the most efficient things to do things, but I appreciate your willingness to be inefficient for people's sake. And and the last thing and the last thing I hear you say is a sense of wherever you're at in life, whatever hat you're wearing, whether it's for you, a mom, a wife, working and volunteering in life of the church, doing your business, like beyond all that, what matters, people matter to God.
They do.
Maybe the way I would say is everyone matters to God.
We do. All the details too.
All those things matter. Everyone matters to God. And let's lean into that. And that's lean into that no matter what hat you're playing. If you're a mom, a husband, a wife, a brother, sister, employee, volunteering, and have eyes open for people.
It's true.
And be willing to step in, because everyone matters to God.
They do.
He cares about each of those details in our lives. And so, thanks, Christy. Thank you for having me. Thanks for sharing and reminding us that everyone matters to God.
Yep.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our Leading Well conversation. Our heart is to care for your soul, develop your skills, and cultivate groups and teams to do good work. However way we could best support you, please let us know. If you found value in this episode or any other episodes we have done, we would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, or many other locations. More importantly, please share this podcast with anyone you think could benefit from it. I'm Zach Bowden, and thanks for listening.